It's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the...
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Pre-PT Chat Live. Casey was introducing it. This is going to be a good conversation. It's going to be good. And as y'all can tell, my background's a little different from usual because I'm traveling. I'm actually in the Midwest right now where we're visiting family. So super excited for the next few weeks here. But nonetheless, we got to serve y'all. And so for those of y'all that are applying the cycle, this conversation is a big deal. So I don't know. I can't see the comments, so I'm sure you can see the comments, Casey. Can you see them?
I can see
You
it.
can?
Yep.
Perfect. So how many of y'all are applying this cycle? Like right now, like you're currently in the process of trying to submit your application or fill out PTCAS or whatever it takes to apply this cycle. How many of y'all, and I can't see the comments, so Casey, you let me know if they're responding. But how many of y'all are applying this cycle? Y'all are the ones we're talking to tonight because we want to talk about what Casey was talking about, which was basically helping y'all avoid some major mistakes that a lot of students make every single year, and it's costing y'all money because if truth be told, and we'll dive into it a little bit here, PTCAS doesn't really care if you make mistakes or not. They are basically a middleman. And if you don't know how to ensure that you don't make certain mistakes, you might end up having applications that don't even get as far as to the school, or that don't even qualify you, or basically bounce back, and now you have to fix stuff, and now you've lost time. And so we want to help you avoid those things. So Casey, hey, let's have some fun with this. Let's kind of just, talk about a few back and forth and see what we come up with as things that we have seen students make major mistakes on, and it just happens over and over, right? Because PTCAS has been there for years, right? Since we were applying to PT school. So let's dive into it, man. What are to you some of the big warning signs, like big mistakes that a lot of students sometimes overlook and maybe don't anticipate, and then after the fact it ends up hurting them more than helping them? What are some of the big ones that you see for a lot of the students that are watching this right now who need to make sure that they're actually like killing it, locked in, but not messing up with these things that a lot of us have a very like all of us can mess up on all the things we're about to talk about tonight? So what are the big ones for you?
Yeah, so I got about three. I'll just shoot one out, then you can shoot another one out. Then I got
Perfect.
some backups just in case we talk about the same ones. But the first one that comes to mind is applying too early. Applying too early could be a big mistake when applying to PT school with a PTCAS application, because usually what I see and why I'm saying this is a lot of students who are applying next year or the year after, they find us or they find whatever, and they see other people going through their application cycle, kind of like a big brother or a big sister.
You got it.
And they start to see what they're going through and see all the comments and see all the videos and see all the hecticness and see all the FOMO, and they're like, I do not want to go through that. Can I start now? Like, what do I need to do to start now? So you got people in that situation. Then you have people later on kind of in that application cycle where they want to start early when they're applying that next cycle coming up as well. So they're probably not like, okay, I'm applying a full year from now. They're probably like, okay, I'm applying in 3 months or 6 months or 2 months. And I heard about this PTCAS thing. I listened to some videos and I want to get a head start on it because that's just my personality. And I love it. That's all great. Both scenarios are great. However, a problem comes when you don't necessarily understand how those things work to your advantage or not work to your detriment. So if you're just following the herd and following the crowd and getting FOMO, you can make some mistakes that you might end up regretting a little later on because you just didn't know about them. So some simple things are finding out that your letters of recommendation that you worked so hard to get, that you put into PTCAS early, that you thought you were doing the right thing with, at the time of this video, are just going to get scrapped when you go on to that next application cycle that's actually yours. Another one is trying to write your essay for this application cycle or for the application cycle that you see other people doing, and the question changes, or the question stays the same, and your essay just gets wiped out because that's just how PTCAS works. Or you send in, you put in your classes, right? And you're like, man, I'm getting so ahead, man. They can't touch me. They can't touch me. But your classes were never verified because you didn't have to send in a transcript because you're not applying this year, right? You're applying next year. So those classes get, potentially wiped out as well, and so on and so forth. So it's not necessarily a huge mistake. That can all be fixed. I love the effort. I love the forwardness. I love that you're trying to get ahead, but at the same time, if you don't know what you're doing and you're letting fear of other people get to you, you're going to be finding yourself in some detriments as well. So that's my number one.
You got it. I love your number one. For those of y'all watching, was that clear? Say crystal clear. If what Casey just said made sense. My first one would have to be treating PTCAS as if they are the body you're applying to, and not the school. That is a big one that I see. So basically, and that could look a number of different ways. That could look like, oh well, PTCAS said my GPA is this, so blank. PTCAS said this, y'all. Like PTCAS is just this middleman machine. So so that mistake can lead you to misjudge some things. That mistake can cost you heavily, especially when you don't take the time to know what the real people that make the decisions, which is the PT programs, like when you don't take time to understand what they actually want. So I've seen students that have been like, yeah, I know exactly what my GPA is, I know what this is, but what PTCAS showed was very different from what the school was actually looking for. And the student was like, I don't know what happened. Like PTCAS said I had a 3.2. PTCAS said I had this. PTCAS said this. Well, PTCAS is just a middleman. PTCAS is not the one deciding whether or not you get accepted into PT school. So that is a very common error. And I see that being a thing because we're always saying PTCAS said this. Y'all just understand the PTCAS is where you basically dump everything you've ever done. Just all your grades, all your experiences, make it sound good, but you're not making it sound good for PTCAS. You're making it sound good because of the schools that are going to be reading those things after PTCAS basically verifies and goes through the process of making sure that all the checks are taken care of. So that's a big one. It's not a long one, but it's a really, really key one that we see countless times. It happens every single year. PTCAS is not who you're applying to. So that's a good thing to remember so that you focus on the guys that really matter, which is the program. So that's my first one. What's your second one?
Yeah, second one is the total opposite of what I said before. So applying too late. So if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're on that kind of procrastination team, and you're like, I apply next year, or I apply in 6 months, or yeah, my application cycle is open, but it's only July 1st, or it's only June 22nd, or it's only September 2nd. I got some time, I'm good. Then you start working on your application and you find out some things take a little longer than you expected. Putting in the classes took a little longer. You didn't realize the classes that you were taking this summer were going to end in August, and you weren't putting in the classes right. And by the time you finished, you already clicked the wrong button and boom, now your grades aren't calculated correctly.
You got it.
Then you find out it's not just one essay you have to write, but if you're applying to 5 schools, that's like 5 schools times 2 extra essays. So that's 10 supplemental essays plus a PTCAS essay plus some supplemental essays on PTCAS. So that ends up being like 10 to 13 essays that you weren't prepared for. And you were like, it's only one essay. I can take my time. And so on and so forth. Letters of recommendation, same thing. Oh, I forgot this one school on my list had the GRE and I need to scramble and take it. So the total opposite can be a huge mistake as well, because your application has a lot of components to it. And if you're not ready for it, if you're not prepared, if you're waiting, if you're procrastinating, you're going to be in for a nice little treat, So that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect is waiting too long, not necessarily in terms of the deadline, but really waiting too long in terms of how far before the deadline you want to apply. So what I mean by this is the people who procrastinate, they'll be like, okay, I got some time. Let me hit submit right before, 11:59 Eastern time on whatever my school's deadline. But kind of like I said before, some things may go wrong. PTCAS might say, hey, this class wasn't filled out right. Somebody didn't, send you something in time. And then boom, just like that, your deadline is passed and now you're freaking out. So if you give yourself just a little buffer, and give yourself a deadline of, let's say, 4 to 5 weeks before your actual deadline,
Yeah.
then you have a buffer and kind of a catch-all with time to kind of fix any mistakes and kind of just put you at ease so your anxiety isn't as high. So that's really my number 2, is you could be applying too late.
I love it. I love it. I hope this is making sense for those of y'all that are applying the cycle. My second one would be editing too early. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Editing too early. So what I mean by that is, and this doesn't happen all the time, but if it catches you off guard, just know. I'm talking about editing what we enter in PTCAS too early. So some of y'all are applying to schools that do not take like the highest retake, for example. So you're like, okay, I'm applying to all schools that takes the highest retake. So I got a D the first time I took bio, and I got an A- the second time. So what happens is you actually edit too early. And what I mean is you enter in what you know the schools want. PTCAS is not for that. So what typically happens is they'll enter it in and they won't enter the D. They won't enter the first version. They won't enter the lower grade. And then when you go to try to get it verified, you're not verified because it doesn't match up with your transcript. So you want to make sure that you realize that PTCAS is not the guy that you edit nothing for. Like you're not trying to make anything look fancy on PTCAS. Put everything in there. What you need to do is make sure that everything matches to the T. Like you do not want there to be any holes, because that's basically what takes them that 4 to 5 weeks. It's that verification process. Do things match up? Like if it doesn't match up, then we have issues. So that's my second one, man. Editing too early, because it kind of goes hand in hand with what I said the first time, because my first point was about, not treating PTCAS as the one you're applying to and remembering that's the schools you're applying to. But sometimes we focus on the schools and we don't realize that we still have to like plug everything into PTCAS, and the schools themselves will basically have their own individualized process of like recalculating what they need to calculate based off of how they look at it. So that's just good to know, because I do see that mistake a lot, and it costs a lot of time, because you might apply and then you're like, okay, I submit in September, and I know that I've given, maybe I listened to what Casey said, and I've given myself, 5, 6, 7 weeks even, right? And then you end up hearing in 3 to 4 weeks, and they tell you, oh, you messed up. And then now we're caught off guard. Now we're scrambling. Now we're trying to make sure that we can submit on time. Now we're having to change schools, and it becomes a mess. So don't catch yourself there, because like I said, PTCAS is going to make money off you regardless. So when you make mistakes, they still getting paid. So yeah, I hope that was clear. What's your third one, Casey?
Yeah, my last one is not understanding how different schools that you're applying to calculate their GPAs, because that could leave you surprised in a way that you don't want to be surprised. So for example, there's different GPAs. If you go on PTCAS or if you go to a school's website, they'll rattle off GPAs like your science GPA, your math GPA, your prerequisite GPA, your cumulative GPA, your overall GPA, your grad school GPA, your last 60 credit hours GPA, all that stuff. They'll rattle all those off. And you can have all of those GPAs, and you really do, unless you have not gone to grad school before. However, out of all those GPAs, which ones do the schools you're applying to care about? Or which ones do they even look at? And sometimes pre-PTs calculate their prerequisite GPA or only look at their cumulative GPA that was given to them on their transcripts. And they're like, man, I'm good. I got a 3.4 from my from undergrad. I'm good. From New York University or from, Idaho State. I'm good. I got a 3.4. When in reality, they have a 2.8 because they retook some classes, because they took a community college class and that factors in, but they failed the first retake or the first take of that community college class, and they didn't even account for that. And the school that they're applying to just takes whatever PTCAS GPA gives them. So if PTCAS calculates every single thing, but Idaho State, the school they went to, just gives them the highest grade of the retake that they did, hey, you're looking at 2 different GPAs, and the school is seeing you way different than you're seeing yourself. So if you don't understand how those schools that you're applying to look at your GPAs, you're not seeing what they're seeing, and you will be surprised how you do not want to be surprised. You'll have a 2.8 GPA thinking you have a 3.4. or you think you'll have a 3.2 prereq GPA and you really have a 3.01, or you think you can have a 3.8 GPA, but you really have, you're applying to a school that takes the overall PTCAS GPA and it's really a 3.2. So on and so forth. The list goes down the line. But that's a big mistake that a lot of pre-PTs don't either realize or don't know about. So that would be my third.
Boom, boom. I would say that my third would probably be in alignment with one of your other ones, but it's just not understanding the language of the verification process. And not knowing the difference between, you know, in progress, received, verified. That's a big one, because if we can understand what that means, like in progress means basically I've kind of like started the app and all my stuff's in, but I haven't submitted, right? I think, you know, received is they've received your stuff, but now they have to verify it. And this is where, like, I think it's just nice to understand why that is, because you realize that you're plugging classes in, you're matching it up with your transcripts. They have to basically figure out, like, remember that thing I said in point number 2? They have to go through that process and be like, hey, does it match up? Are there any holes? And if there's any holes, guess what? They tell you, hey, ain't working out. You're going to have to plug some stuff back in. You're still going to have to pay us money, you know? And so understanding the language and understanding what that means, because if I can understand that, oh, there's a verification process, then now I'm not assuming anything. Now I'm not showing up saying, well, my application is due in 3 days. Come on, PTCAS, speed it up. Well, like, come on now. Like that goes hand in hand with what you were saying about, you know, applying too late and now not even giving yourself that wiggle room to be able to adjust and make things work for you. And the cool thing is this, y'all, just sometimes we just have to understand why it's happening to start making some really simple but pretty brilliant decisions, right? So when you apply it within a good time frame, just think about it. Like, it's like traffic, right? So right now, right now I am in Wisconsin. This morning we left Tampa. The Tampa airport, y'all, is never busy. I promise y'all, I have flown from that airport so many times. It's never busy. Today it was like, it was crazy, right? And we're flying for the first time with our 8-month-old son, so it was a process. But here's the thing: it's a holiday weekend and so on and so forth. So obviously it's going to be a lot more traffic. So, like, do y'all think? Just think about it. Like, do y'all think that if I showed up at the, you know, because we have TSA pre-check, we usually just do carry-on. So my wife and I, you usually show up maybe 45 minutes before takeoff, and we're good. Like we will get through the thing, we will sit on our plane, and we won't even have to break a sweat, right? Do y'all think if I tried that today, I would have made it to Wisconsin, which is where I am right now? No, I would not have, right? And that's because the traffic just increases. And I think when you guys can think of the application process that way and realize, if I'm procrastinating, chances are a lot of other people are procrastinating, which means that, wait a minute, if my deadline's, say, October 1st or whatever your deadlines are, if I'm waiting 2 weeks before and everyone else, and let's say 80% of students are also waiting 2 weeks before, what's going to happen? What happened today? People are going to miss flights. People are going to get kicked off the plane. People are going to get told, hey, too late, we can't check you in. So that's the same process. When you understand the language and you understand what it means, that I don't go from just submitting my application to the schools receiving it. There's a process of them getting the transcripts, them saying, oh, we got them, them looking through and be like, oh, it matches up, great. Now the schools can see it. And if I'm picking the heavy traffic time, which is procrastinationville, which means that thing about not doing it too late, it's a smart thing to do. If I'm not procrastinating, then all of a sudden I can actually benefit from what sometimes y'all might have heard other students do. Like, there are students that y'all might have heard that said, oh yeah, I submitted my stuff and it was verified in 10 days or it was verified in 7 days, because they also picked a time that wasn't heavy traffic. They had a great application. They took their time. They understood what they were doing, and it was verified a whole lot faster. So just understand that, y'all. Understand it, because you might be procrastinating on so many different things, not realizing that at the end of the line is your application and your submission of it. And if I'm procrastinating on things as little as when I'm going to take my GRE, to when I'm going to retake a class, to when I'm going to ask for my letters of recommendation. All those things compile, and they lead to you basically doing what everyone was doing at the airport today, which was panicking and freaking out because they weren't going to get on their on their flight on time. Fortunately, we showed up 2.5 hours early today because we were not going to do the 45 minutes. And yeah, I mean, we made the flight, so we good. So we want y'all to make the flight, which is making sure that your application goes through. So I hope that analogy did not go over your head. No pun intended. But I do hope that it resonated across. Just understand the language. Take time to understand it. They talk about it. They explain to you what those things mean. So play by the rules. Play by the rules, and don't be careful to not take. Let me say it like this: when y'all are taking advice, don't hear just one person's experience and assume that that's how it works across the board, right? So if someone tells you, "Yep, it took me 10 days," don't just say to yourself, "All right, as long as I can give myself a 10-day window." That's a recipe for an unfortunate surprise. So I hope this was helpful. But yeah, if y'all got any additional questions, let us know. If you're looking for clarity and direction and guidance through this whole thing, we have a coaching program that helps you do that. You can find out more about it at acceptancesystem.com. And if it fits you, you can apply for it. And if you are a match, we'll let you in, probably, right? But nonetheless, we will guide you through the whole process. And if you're looking for just some clarity, go to acceptancenavigator.com. We have a beautiful training there for you to help you absolutely dominate this entire process. We don't want y'all guessing. You don't want you guessing. And I hope tonight really kind of opened your eyes to that a little bit. Casey, anything to add, brother?
That's it. You heard the man. Acceptancesystem.com. We'll see you there, or acceptancenavigator.com. And we'll see you on the next Pre-PT Chat Live. Take care, guys.
That's it. Much love, y'all. Bye.